Alright, so hello and welcome back to the walkthrough series, and in this episode we are going to be looking at 9618 variant 4.2 of May-June 2023, and we'll be doing the Python implementation for question number 1. So it says here that a 1D array needs to store the names of 10 animals. Write program code to declare the global string array code animals to store 10 items. So let's go ahead and look at the implementation that I have going on here. So you actually see that I'm making use of list comprehensions, and the way this code works right here is that we are declaring a list, right? So a list, we know that it's a list because we're using box brackets in Python. That's how you declare a list. And then we have this empty string or these empty double quotes going on here. So this is just essentially an empty string. Then we are using a for loop that's going to create 10 instances of these empty strings and store them inside of this list, as it were. So essentially it's going to be a list that has 10 empty strings going on inside of it. Then of course here we are just using an anonymous or a no-name variable, as it were, because it's a throwaway variable and you don't really need to name it anything. So an underscore, in most cases, the convention in Python is to make use of an underscore, especially when we are doing list comprehensions, as it were. So having done that, you can go ahead and copy the code and paste it inside of the evidence document. Maybe let me just point out that an alternative way through which you can also do the same thing is to make use of this notation code. You can go like animals, then you put the box brackets, rather put the empty quotes inside of the box brackets, then multiply by 10. So this is also valid as well. I just thought maybe it may be a good opportunity to also demonstrate that you can also do the same thing using list comprehensions, as it were. All right, so let's move on to the next aspect here. So the main program needs to store the following animals in the array. So we have this list of animals going on here. Write program code to store these animal names in the array. The names must be in lowercase and stored in the order given in the list. So I have the solution going on right here for part B. We are now storing these animals list, or these names of animals inside of the animals list, as it were, or animals array. So on line number 8, we are telling the Python interpreter that we are making reference to the animals variable that we declared right here. So remember, animals, when you declare it outside of any function or outside of any method, it's going to be a global variable. And for us to access it, we make use of the global keyword in Python. Then on line number 9, we are actually storing, or we actually have the names of the animals that are given right here. Then it's just a comma separated list, really. Otherwise, I would have read this in one line, but then it would have been very long. So that's why I actually formatted it like this for easier readability. But really, you would just have it as one continuous string in one line, and it's still valid all the same. So having done that, you can go ahead and copy the code and paste it inside of the evidence document. Then moving on to C, we have the following pseudocode procedure that sorts the array into a descending alphabetical order using only the first character in each animal name. The function length data array returns the number of elements in the data array. The function mid string start quantity returns quantity number of characters from string starting at the index start. So if you are familiar with your pseudocode, you realize that these are your standard library functions that you usually use in pseudocode for checking the length of a string, or rather in this case we are checking the length of an array, is it? Then for this one, we're also checking we can use it to slice a string, as it were. So here they are just giving us an example that if you use mid, you can actually slice the first 2 characters from this string called tiger, as it were. So there are 4 incomplete statements in the procedure. So our task is to complete this pseudocode implementation, then translate it to program code, as it were. So basically here we have the pseudocode. So it's a procedure called sort ascending. So that's what we are going to be calling our function or our method, as it were. Then you see that here we have 2 nested 4 statements. Then we also have those function declarations going on beforehand. Then inside of here we are now iterating through the string as it were. And basically our task right now is to convert all of this into program code as it were. So let me just come back here and show you what's going on. So for the outer loop right here, where we have the incomplete statement here, rather for the inner loop, sorry, that's where we actually have the first statement that we need to complete. We should iterate it from the range of the array length of array length minus x minus 1, just as like they are doing right here. So essentially this is going to be actually from 0 to array length minus x minus 1. So in our case, we're just using the range function, is it? Then for the mid statement right here, we are checking to see if we slice the animal at index position y, starting from index position 0 and counting one character is less than, then we need to complete this part right here. So the way we are going about it, we need to compare with the next element, is it? So here you're actually putting y plus 1, then 0, then 1, because you want to check the next element inside of the animal's index as it were. Because remember, you're going to be sorting these elements in ascending order. So this one, let's say, coming back to our animals list, animals at index position y would be horse, and animals at index position y plus 1, it's actually the lion, is it? So that's what we're doing right here. We're comparing adjacent elements and checking to see if they are in the correct alphabetical order. So you might actually immediately notice this as a standard bubble sort. We are just bubble sorting an array as it were. So we proceed to compare with the next one. Then if the current element is less than in terms of alphabetical order than the next element, then we are going to swap the elements as it were. And one of the nice things about Python really is that you can compare or you can swap variables in place. Unlike in languages like Java and Visual Basic, where you actually need a third variable called temp to temporarily hold a value before you can swap it with another value, you can just swap the values in place. So that's what we're actually doing right here. So here you see that we have this temp going on, but in Python we actually don't need to have the temp, because this is essentially going to swap the elements as it were. So what this means is that the animal at index position y is going to be swapped to the next index position. Then the animal that was in the next index position right here will be stored in the previous index position as it were. So that's essentially how it works in Python as it were. So we don't need the temp as they have in the pseudocode right here. But of course, even if you wanted to use the temporary index, the temporary variable, you could actually do it. It would still work. But I'm just pointing it out that Python, in terms of variable swapping, it actually uses this shorthand notation, whereby you can just have the variables coming one after the other, separated by a comma, then reassign them by just changing the positions as it were. So having done that, you can go ahead and copy the code and paste it inside of the evidence document. Then moving on to D item 1, we are to write program code to amend the main program to call the procedure sort descending. And we also need to output the sorted contents of the array with each animal name on a new line. So let's go ahead and look at that in the implementation that I have right here. So we are calling sort ascending on line number 23. Then on line 24, we are using a for loop to iterate through the animals array as it were, and we are simply printing each animal on its own line right there on line 25. Then we have to test our program and take a screenshot of the output. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to pull up the terminal here. Then make sure that I am in the correct folder. So I want to go into this folder which says June 23 v42. That's where I have my Python script. So June 23 v42. Then my Python script is actually named question1 underscore j23. So I'll just type that in. j23 underscore v42.py. I forgot to invoke the Python interpreter. So we should go Python first, then the name of the Python script as it were. So when we run the code, you actually see that it's now giving our list of animals sorted in descending order. So we are starting, or rather in reverse alphabetical order as it were. That's what they mean by descending order. So having done this, you can take a screenshot of this output and paste it inside of the evidence document. Then moving on to, Okay, we are done with this one. It's quite short really. So yeah, that's just about it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.